focus on that. And it has served us very well. I mean, in 4 years, we have become the top 100 real estate agents. Put that anywhere. Good thing we bought the insurance, right? We've become the top 100 real estate agent in Las Vegas. Now, my team and I collectively, we're not that smart. In fact, I'm the dumbest guy in the room. But we've committed to our 6 personal perspectives. We've committed to getting up and working every single day in our business. We've committed to being learning based. We've committed to helping people. We've committed to putting all of our beliefs, God, family, and then business. And we just help each other out every day to do that. We help each other every single day to hit those commitments. And that's what's really important. So now, we are going to talk about production in the shift. So I went to a mastermind on Friday. We had some really good conversations with some of the top producers in town. I met with Terry Brinkus on Thursday for 2.5 hours. Whoa. That was intense. Yeah, so Terry Brinkus Terry and Rick Brinkus are the #1 team in Las Vegas. They bless you. They own our market center, bless you. They own the Green Valley Market Center. And if you've ever read this book, it's called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It is a pretty powerful book. They are contributors to that book. Rick Brinkus will sell this year between 350 and 450 homes. So we're fortunate to be in business with them every day and have conversations with them. But 2.5 hours with Terry Brinkus, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of information. Life had just
one-on-one too.
Passed me by. Yeah.
What did your eyes look like coming out of that?
And we didn't drink. She didn't drink, I didn't drink. So it was a good conversation. So today, shift. The only thing that matters in our shift is what's our mindset like? What are the skills? I'm very careful. What are the skills that we either are honing in on or developing? And what are the activities that we're doing? That's all that matters. Nothing else matters in a shift. So who can give me an example of our shift right now? Start with somebody who's not on the team currently that might know a little bit about the real estate market. How many in the room think we're in a shift? Okay? So we are shifting from some sort of real estate standard, and we're shifting to some sort of real estate standard. And unfortunately, what we don't know as real estate agents, what does that look like? Because if we all had a magic ball, 8-ball, and we could figure it out, we would be insider trading, we'd all be making so much more money. So even though there's laws against that, nobody really knows. So what is the shift, Connor?
My house has been on the market almost 2 months now, and I've had 1 offer and like 3 showings.
So your house has been on the market for almost 2 months.
Maybe it's already been a month.
I think it's been closer to a month. You price adjusted once. You had 1 offer that they retracted.
Yes, and they asked for closing costs.
And they asked for closing costs. What's another example of shifting market? Oh, and so what was the market 3 months ago?
That home in that price point would have been on the market for like 4 days.
Okay.
Well, the prices, when you drive around, and I'll see the sign that says price reduced. So you see all the prices now up. And that's something that everyone can see,
Demand.
realtor or not.
Double the inventory, half the sales.
Okay.
Although sales did
So
go
let's
up.
get, because we have people in the room that don't know anything. So let's get clear. Let's get really clear with them.
Builder paying 5% on a new construction.
Versus 3 months ago.
Yeah, where if you, well, I mean, what, 3%, and then if the buyer showed up with value, it's.
Yeah, we're not even gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
I showed a home yesterday that it was a co-op of 4%, and that was a resale. But
So increased inventory,
Higher co-ops for buyers.
increased commission.
Buyers.
I apologize in advance, my
So you gave up halfway through increase.
yeah, I'm just, yeah, I should have been a doctor. Increased commission,
Price reduction.
so, okay, price reduction.
increased demand.
I wouldn't call it.
So
demand.
decreased demand.
Yeah.
Inventory increases, demand decreases.
That's what I said, right?
Yeah,
Or did I say
so
increase?
decrease.
The mind was there.
Although it did increase over last month.
Okay, somebody said it, incentives, so that could be, seller pay closing costs.
Negotiation power could also be.
Higher negotiations.
I just bought
more
2 weeks
more-
ago, and that was the case.
Okay, so what was the case?
Basically that they covered basically all the expenses of the closing, and then
Okay.
also I was able to have them come down on the actual price of the condo.
And how long was that property on the market that you bought?
I'd say a month.
Okay. I know, I read it twice. So, if we are increasing inventory, which by the way, in the last 2 months, inventory has gone up 70% now from January 1st. It didn't go up 70% in the last 3 months, but it has gone up to 70% now, an increase of 70%. In the summer market, and even maybe in the spring, we saw commissions to the buy side of 2.5 on average. I'm still seeing some 2%ers.
Really?
I'm still seeing them. They've been on the market a while, but I'm still seeing some 2%ers. And now are we starting to see three,
3.5.
4.
and in the builder inventory, we're starting to see 3.5, 4. Okay. We're also, I had 2 offers come in a couple weeks ago where the seller, they were asking for the seller to pay closing costs. How many in this room have seen that in the last 24 months? Unless it was a VA.
Well, I see it in San Antonio, but
Okay.
that's normal, this is like a normal market for us.
Yeah. Now that's what we're gonna get to is
Yeah,
what
which
is a
is
normal
good.
market? Cause I'm not sure how much of a shift it is versus a correction in our market. Our market has really been striving for normalcy, cause we don't get much of that. Now, our correction could be, could be just the winter.
Well, yeah, cause Connor said, you said sales went up from over last month,
Yeah.
300 homes sold more.
I saw that on GLBR.
That could be
Yeah.
something.
Could be.
That's
Well,
the next one.
and
And-
last month, interest rates went up for the buyer.
Oh, yeah, 6%. My
I
friend
got
just
on-
did a loan for 6%.
For certain loans, yeah. But we went up an 1/8% on average. So what does this mean? So now we kind of understand the red flags. We're kind of understanding, well, if this happens, it likely means this. But what does it mean as a market in the whole?
Mass exodus.
No. What does it mean?
It might have something to do with the banks and the loans that because the person that I bought from, his loans were, they were basically calling them in. And they needed it, they needed the cash right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't understand mortgage rates, let me give you a very quick backstory. So you have the bond market, which is governed by the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve says, we need to make a little money on our money, so we're gonna send it out there and we're gonna adjust bond rates. So when the director of the Federal Reserve says, hey, we're gonna raise interest rates, it does not directly apply to mortgage rates. It applies to bond rates. And what happens is bond rates now have a cost. So maybe they went up, a 1/16 of a point or an 1/8 of a point or whatever. And then what happens is our economy will adjust. And think of a mortgage bank or a mortgage investor like this. You've got a guy who's sitting behind, his chair in Texas, and he says, I'm going to buy all of the conventional loans in Las Vegas that are 20% down, $400,000 to $500,000 loan from Cardinal Financial, and I'm willing to pay a 2-point override, and I want this rate. And he gets an influx of 1,000 loans from Cardinal Financial, because he's one of their investors. And Cardinal says, oh my God, here's all these loans. And he says, okay, now I'm gonna service these loans, and that's cool. And now I'm gonna raise the rates, because I don't want 1,000 next month either. I only want 500 next month. So I'll buy all of your conventionals that are 20% down, $400,000 to $500,000 with a 2-point override, and that's basically points, the cost of the loan. And I'm gonna do it at an interest rate of now, from 6%, I'm gonna go to 6.25%. And he gets 500. Here we go. And he says, all right. And he repeats it until he starts to get what he wants. So when somebody says interest rates went up, that's the bond rate. But depending on the investor, and depending on the price, and depending on the down payment, and the credit worthiness of that buyer, that investor could raise or lower rates. And that's what we have, that's why we call it a lock. So when somebody's getting a loan, there's a period of time that the rates go up and down. And the mortgage bankers go into their website, the proprietary system, whatever that is. Some of them are using Freddie Mac, some of them are using Fannie Mae, and they're getting the rates for that day based on what the investors are buying the notes for. It's kind of like a mini stock market. Think of it, you know, ring, 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 the bell opens, and all the investors are there to buy notes. Now, that's not exactly what happens, but for those of you who don't understand mortgages, I want you to tie it to something. And by the end of the day, they have bought all the mortgage notes that they intend to buy, or at least promise to pay. So when you have a buyer that is in escrow, within about the first 15 days, we're getting to a time of note locking, where they were given a quote to buy this home at conventional, 20% down, not to exceed this purchase price. Oh, and you're at 5.25% interest. But then we have to lock in that interest rate. And so once we know that they're pretty much pre-approved, the EMD, we've got the property, the appraisals come in, the lender is trying to lock them in. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes they don't care and it doesn't matter, and he can lock it in without really having their approval. And sometimes you've got a savvy buyer that says, no. Like, I wanna hedge my bets on this, because a 1/16 of a point is a lot. I mean, it adds up. It could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 interest over the life of that loan. And so a savvy investor cares about that lock rate. So he locks it in. Okay, and now he has to close within a certain time in order to guarantee that. Because the investor says, I'll buy your home at this rate, you've locked it in, we're good. Now close the house. So does everybody understand how that works? So as interest rates go up and down, there's a lot of players involved. You got Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Those are your big government umbrellas that protect the loan. They're like an insurance policy, basically. And then you've got some subprime investors out there that they'll buy stuff on the secondary market. They'll take a risk, and you're starting to see more of those. So I wanted you to understand that in a shifting market, two things are going to happen. You're going to have banks coming up out of nowhere. They're going to walk up, hi, I'm Craig Tippie, bank. I'm not FDIC insured, but I'll loan you that money. Okay?
Isn't there a governing body for that now, though?
No. There's a governing body if you're going to use a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac backed loan, which would include a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conventional, a Fannie Mae, actually we found out that Freddie Mac doesn't even do FHA, they're only doing conventional. So a Fannie Mae FHA loan or a VA loan.
But didn't they learn their lesson from the last? Because that's exactly what happened.
History always repeats itself, people. They just put on a new mask.
Didn't you want the Margot Robbie video from Big Short?
When you hear
Sitting
subprime,
in the
think shit.
At some point, yes. History repeats itself. Right now, I am seeing people who says, hey, I'm the real estate agent. My mom and dad have this small lending company, and they're going to be the lender. And then my uncle is the home inspector. I'm thinking, oh, I could see this coming. So it's going to happen. So those are all indications of our shift, guys. So now that we have a room full of people that understand what to look for in the shift, now we have to understand at what point are we in the shift? Because here's what we know. That is a real estate market. And so if we were to put times on these things. 2006 to roughly 8/9, and I guarantee this. End of 2017 to going into 2018, we're there somewhere. We're there somewhere. Now, today, do we have graphs for today? I don't believe so. They never give them to us on the first week. But next week at the sales meeting, we're gonna have the graphs again for end of October. And we're gonna be looking to see how much down we've gone, how much up we've gone, because you're right, we've had some more sales. So we're gonna be looking at those monthly blips and seeing, over the 12 months, are we shifting here or are we not? But I wanna talk about where the pressure. How many have climbed up a big mountain? Oxygen gets low, doesn't it? And how many have gone below sea level? There is no oxygen, and the pressure gets to you. There's no difference in real estate. There is no difference. You get really, really high up here, you got buyers and sellers that are yelling and screaming at each other because the sellers think their home is worth more than it is. And you got the buyer that says, it's not worth it. My appraisal came back low. Typically when we shift, buyers are roughly, when we're shifting out of a seller's market, buyers are roughly 90 to 120 days ahead of a seller. Because the buyers are working with lenders. The buyers are working with real estate agents. The buyers know somebody who bought or sold either in this state or another state. And so their little 8-ball kind of gives them information that's a little more accurate. The sellers, they're still sitting here going, nope, my home's worth this because Google and Zillow and Zestimate and Estimate and the Pestiment, they all said my home is this. And that's not necessarily the truth. Because what the seller refuses to listen to is that the home that sold 30 days ago, 2 doors down from you, the appraisal came in $20,000 low. You saw what it was listed for, you saw that it was under contract, but you didn't quite pay attention to the fact that it sold less. Yeah, I know, but that home's only a 3-bedroom, and mine is a 3-bedroom with a loft, and I have upgraded laminate flooring, and I put in I put in something in my backyard. Hey, Patty, I put something in my backyard that has to give me $10,000 more for my home.
Put 2-inch screws in my doors.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
I have epoxy flooring.
That's really cool.
Duh.
And unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you don't decide what your home is going to sell for. You only decide what your home is going to list for.
And what you will sell for.
The market decides what it's worth, and the buyer decides what they're going to pay. Okay? So, we are spending a lot of time right now focusing on our shift. Is this a shift? Is this a correction? I'm gonna stand here in front of all of you and say it's a shift. Because even if it's not a shift and it's only a correction, I'll be wrong. We don't have to plan a lot for a correction. We have to plan a lot for a shift. Okay, so I'm gonna come at you from a catastrophe standpoint. But the best thing is, there's only a couple things we have to do. Because whether it is a seller's market, whether it's a buyer's market, it's always a broker's market. So we're gonna talk about mindset today, okay? So you're going to have sellers and buyers out there that are going to, they're a little contentious. Blood pressure's a little high right now. They wish they woulda, coulda, shoulda. There are some sellers that are now having great conversations with us that are getting on the phone saying, yeah, I should have listed it over the summer. Yeah, you should have. Or I should have priced it right over the summer. Or I should have taken that buyer's offer when I could have. Yeah, you should have. And now you can't, so what can we do? So we have to change our mindset, and we have to change the mindset of our client. We have to. And how do we do that? What are the ways that we can shift our mindset? Breakdown, yeah.
Paying attention to the numbers realistically.
It's all about numbers.
Right.
Air high five to you. Real estate success is all about numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you're not long for any business really, but especially real estate since it's only numbers. It's only numbers. What's another way we can adjust our mindset? John?
Going through both.
So-
Okay.
So classes.
Educating yourself.
Okay,
constantly.
yeah, so learning base, constantly learn, yeah.
Understand that you're going to have to double down on all of your efforts.
So principles of shift, yeah, work a little harder, work a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it isn't a shift and it's a correction, you'll just come out of the other end even better than you would have in
So-
the first place.
I have this strategy, and I didn't come up with it myself, but I have this brilliant coach that did. And he said, when you're going into a shift, there's only two things that you have to do. You have to take more listings, and you have to take more people who can take more listings. That's it. He said, that's it. You don't even have to be good at selling those listings. As the market shifts, inventory increases, demand goes down. Just take more listings, because as the market corrects itself, he who has the listings controls the
Market.
So if I have enough people that I can teach to go and take more listings, when we get through this, what have we just done? We've taken more territory. Yeah, we as a team have taken more territory. So it's calculated. There's a reason why I have tasked my team to recruit more people who want to get into real estate and have more conversations with people who are in real estate and aren't succeeding at a high level. It's calculated. It's calculated. Every Monday, we will have a lot of people in the room. Because then I get the opportunity to say, I like you, I like you, I like you, I like you. And I want to help you grow your business. So it's calculated for me. Absolutely. And the team who is already in production gets risen to another level. Their mindset changes. They lead by example. They hone their skills. And then guess what? The activities go up. The activities go up. So that's really important. So do we all agree that we're not here? Okay.
Yes.
Do we all agree that we're somewhere here?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we know that, and we understand that our buyer of today and our buyer of tomorrow are two different buyers. How many have heard the term iBuyer? iBuyer. Okay. What is an iBuyer in your opinion?
An internet buyer.
Yes. And
Someone who uses Zillow?
not so much Zillow, but maybe a vehicle that they use is Open Door or
They don't have
Century
any.
21?
Somebody unfamiliar with the
they are an internet-based
They just locate,
cash
yeah.
buyer. That is the true definition of an iBuyer.
That was me.
Huh?
That was me.
You were internet-based.
Yeah.
Typically, there's not.
Buying in another state from where I was.
Yep.
The only way I was actually gonna see the properties was online.
Yep.
And that was all I was basing my search on.
Okay. So that's a great definition of an iBuyer. So your investors who come from California, who can buy 2 homes for the price of 1, could be an iBuyer. And what are we doing to attract and create a fiduciary duty to an iBuyer? And I don't need the answer, I just need you to know, what am I doing to attract, create a skill set for them so they understand that I can help them at their highest, at the highest level for what they need and do business with them. Because it's happening, and it's happening more. Now, there is also another term, and I'm having a brain fart on it.
Did you say it?
Gig. The Gig Society. How many of you in this room know what the Giga Buyer or the Gig Society stands for? Okay. So the Gig, or the Giga Buyer, or the Giga Society, and it's used for everything, is the guy or girl or lady or gentleman or whoever that goes out and has a side hustle. They're the Uber drivers who also have a full-time job. They're the people that are putting a little money into cryptocurrency. Probably not making a lot of money on that right now, but they did. They're the people that have a little bit of cash coming in that they don't necessarily need to worry about the IRS on. So for those of you who were at the event with me, a couple of you, CMG Mortgage talked about it, but he talked about it real quick. And he just said, we realize that we're going to have a problem getting people approved for a loan who are from the gig society.
Oh, yeah, Brandon actually has a client like that.
Yeah.
Nanette, they're like that. They're both Uber drivers
Yeah.
and teachers, and they can't get pre-approved.
I mean, there's so many different things now, too, people get paid on the internet, like, you know.
So what are we doing?
Bloggers.
What are we doing? What skills have we learned so that we can help them buy or sell a home? Okay, I went and saw 4 homes over the weekend where my client is in California, and we wrote an offer on one of them, and I had to walk through the home, you know, with
Skype or something.
with
FaceTime.
WhatsApp, FaceTime, that's it, with FaceTime. What are you doing to take that to the next level? Because you're right, it's going to, now it happened several years ago, but that was through a buyer frenzy. Let's just write the offer sight unseen and, you know, and then if we like it, we'll go look at it. Now people are actually comfortable buying a home sight unseen, because the needs and wants of the home could not really matter. Location, price, if I don't like it, I'll sell it. You know, I'll slap a coat of paint, I'll move a wall around, whatever that is, okay? So get really clear. What are you doing with your skill set? Because these are gonna be 2 new buyers that in the next 12 to 24 months, you are gonna work with at a high level. Polishing.
That's what I did with a client from California. I went to the property and I video
Absolutely,
everything for him.
absolutely. So now, we understand the mindset. Maybe we don't understand yet the mindset of our buyer and seller. Maybe we don't understand yet the mindset of ourselves moving into a shifting market, but I've planted the seed. We understand that there's some buyers and sellers out there that are looking for us to provide a fiduciary service and a level of standard north of maybe where we are right now. What are we doing to learn? Now let's talk about the activities. What are things that a real estate agent should be doing in this shifting market? Not us specifically, but what are things that an agent should be doing?
Lead generating at our level.
Okay, always comes back to lead generation, yes. If you're not lead generating at all, and you're a real estate agent, and you have been so fortunate to get the majority of your business from repeat and referral business, I am happy to text you where the unemployment line is in advance, because you will be there. You won't get unemployment because you probably didn't pay into it. You are not going to be able to do business in a shifted buyer's market through repeat referral business alone. And if you do, because you just have been doing this for 40 years and you know everybody, the retail buyer backs off in a shifted market. They just stay put. An investor jumps to the front line. A first-time buyer might jump to the front line. But a retail buyer typically takes a back seat. So, who are you talking to? And here's one that I want us to focus on. It's what I call a move up buyer. Who can tell me what that is?
That's what I dealt with sometimes.
Okay, tell us about it.
Well, for me, it was a move-up buyer, so I would sell their home
Mm-hmm.
and then help them buy their new home.
Mhm.
That's what I did.
Okay, so let's use Craig as the example, because Craig would be a perfect example of a objection handling move-up buyer. Craig bought a house in 2015. All said and done, he financed on an FHA $250,000. He put $100,000 into the house. Now, based on comps and his better than average knowledge, he believes his house is worth somewhere between $450,000 and $520,000.
And you should let Brandon list this house and find him a better one.
And he's not. But thank you for taking the opportunity. So Craig's playing around one night and goes on to OfferPad because he wants to print off the OfferPad and use it for future listings. And he goes in and he says, hey, I have a home, OfferPad, Opendoor, sorry, not OfferPad, Opendoor. And he puts into Opendoor, hey, I have a home, and Opendoor gets back to me the next morning and offers me $420,000 cash. I'm thinking, well, then you're gonna beat me up. up, and you're gonna say, well, this isn't right, so you're probably 380, 390. And Craig knows that there are, if Craig wanted cash, there are other investors out there that would probably offer 10 to 15% higher than Open Door. And so Craig's like, all right, 450,000. Let's just say 450,000, he doesn't even have to do the landscaping. So Craig starts looking for another home, just to see what's out there. And Craig pays $1,560 a month for his mortgage. And that's FHA, and that's with mortgage insurance.
$1,500?
And $60. Yep, that's taxes, mortgage, principal, and interest. And Craig's like, all right, if I go and find something else, oh, and he's at 3.75 interest, FHA. So Craig's like, all right, if I find something $500,000, and I'm gonna put $150,000 to $200,000 down, I'll put all that I made, you know, on the new home. So now that's gonna bring it down to like 350,000, 400,000. Can I find something? So let's assume Craig did. Let's assume Craig found the house, because I don't think the issue here for the move-up buyer is locating the inventory.
And it won't be, because the inventory.
It's not. Craig's got a great team, they'll go knock doors. Like, they'll say, I have a buyer who wants to buy your house. So it's not the inventory. Craig starts looking at these $500,000 homes, and he's like, all right, well, what would his mortgage look like? So even if I did conventional, 30% down, no MI, I'm looking at a $500,000 house,
$2,000 plus.
I'm looking at 3,200.
What?
You double your
Your mortgage?
Yeah.
puke.
Is it?
Now I can buy down interest rates.
Yeah.
Interest rates now are high 4s, low 5s, conventional 20% down
That's not even
on
talking-
average,
That's not even talking DPA.
I wouldn't use
I'm
down
just
payment,
saying,
but somebody
your
else who
rate's even
would,
higher.
yeah. So what's the objection handler? And this goes back to skill and activity, there's a reason I'm using me as the example. What's the objection handler you use for somebody who says, yeah, I've got a buttload of equity in my house, I bought right, I'm willing to sell, go find me something that I can afford. Who in their right mind is gonna double their mortgage? I love my house, like my house is cherry, I'm good, I'm happy, I love everything about my house. I would sell it because of the equity. How do you overcome that objection? You walk in, listing appointment. Seller says, oh my God, yes, we know we can get $500,000 for our house, and that's $250,000 positive equity. We would pay off our loan. We can drop over 20%, and the key is, can you do more than 20%? Okay? What is the objection handler for that?
I'd probably say something along the lines of, our market's shifting down, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
So the equity you have now, more than likely won't be alive in a couple of years. Interest rates are rising, so your purchasing power, you won't have the same purchasing power you'll have if you wait. So you're, not only will you not make as much money on the sale of your home, because we're at a high right now in the market, your interest rates are going to be higher. They're still favorable now. I'm not gonna say they're low, they're favorable. If you wait, you're not going to have the purchasing power to purchase the same caliber house you
So,
can purchase now. And they're only rising.
so let's break that down.
So those two things together, I think, overpower the higher mortgage.
And then,
But
That's
this
a
is
good way
going
to write the Y in there somewhere.
well, yeah, I think you would do all that, but you'd have to tie it into an emotional. I would like,
Yeah.
even though they love their house, there's something they're not happy with. And I would find that,
It's also the other way.
and then paint that picture for the next home, that it's a solution to a problem that they have. Be it the neighborhood, their neighbors, something, but you'd be emotion, because emotion's gonna
Well,
make them act.
Well, that's not the.
So what if like you love your home, you have no why that's.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm
But there's always a
Because you
why,
didn't find it.
there's always
You
a
didn't
why.
find it. Yeah.
Craig,
There's always a
Craig,
why.
why do you wanna leave your home?
Equity.
Why can
You
you
said
wait?
equity.
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 Yeah, he did say it.
I can see the little wheels spinning, people are going,
Buyers are liars though, so that might not be.
But equity would be
He's
considered
about
in
to
that
buy
money
something.
portion.
I'm telling
So
you.
this, so price,
That's what you said your why was, that's why I went off of that.
price,
But
and
there's
there's
a
nothing
deeper
saying,
one.
so some, yeah, a really good agent who was really good at getting into my door might say something like, wow, you know, I pulled the comps and it looks like your home's worth, you know, about $200 to $300 more than, $200,000 to $300,000 more than you paid for it. I'm assuming you didn't refinance or anything, right? No, I didn't. Okay, great, so listen, you know, now that we know that you have a lot of positive equity, have you found another home to move into? Well, I found some homes and they're nice and all that stuff, but my concern is, am I gonna spend all of this extra money of positive equity and throw it out the window just to get into another home that's maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little nicer? So the first thing you have to overcome is, why do you wanna take out the money from your home? Now, those of you that know me will realize that I have this awesome, awesome relationship with this company called the IRS. We're like on first name basis. And I'm like, you know what? I could like sell this house. I could put 30% down into another house of like home. Half acre, no HOA, single story, horse land.
Patrick Lane.
Horse land. You laugh. And I can pay off the IRS. I can just be done with them. I don't have to fight them anymore. I can just be done. That contributes to my why. Now, the conversation is, if a great listing agent was in front of me, they would say, well, that's awesome. You know, is it bad? I mean, are things really, you know, let's just put it this way. I consider the IRS like this big bear. And I've got my head in the bear, and the only thing I'm doing right now is what? Nice bear, nice bear. So I'm at that point where I'm like,
Do I pick my head out? of the
yeah,
mouth?
I mean, for those of you who don't know me, I have a background in law, and so I worked in a law firm for many years, and so I play that game a little, you know, you're the IRS, who do you think you are? And I'm at that place now where I probably have negotiated all I can negotiate, and they're a little bigger, and they're a little meaner, and so the opportunity has presented itself where my why could be,
But they can still refinance the house and take some money out, right?
well, you're right,
But that's your job to get them to buy it.
but you as a listing
Yeah,
agent
but
are
if
looking at that.
they say that to you, what is your?
Well, so we're working through that, because I think, guys, I think you can go out there today and take more listings if you understand the move-up buyer. And so I really think that there's value in honing in on taking the listing. Okay, because the backup would be, well, great, I'll help you refinance. I can refinance all day long. I'm still going to pay a higher interest rate for the money I borrowed. I'm like, I'm not willing to. Like, I know that for me, my why, not that I want to get really personal, but I think this will, I'm a transparent guy, so I can go and I can do a 7-year payment plan and be done. I could sign on that dotted line. I could pay them $2,000 a month for 7 years, and they will waive all of the penalties and interest, and I'm done. That's my best case scenario. I can also do what I'm doing now, which is an offer and compromise, where I say, hey, let's do this pennies on the dollar, let's cut it 50%, and I'll make a lump sum payment. Or I can continue to negotiate. So as a listing agent, you've got to really understand what puts you in front of that person. So you now understand that I may have two whys. Why one is I could pay a debt. Why two is I could go into another home, and some of you don't know this, and I don't have to go and fix. Because I'm in this unique relationship where my better half loves to hammer nails into the wall and rip up flooring and carpet and move walls. Like,
The house does look good.
still, I'd like to be able to walk into a bathroom and say, is this the one that works, or is that the one that works? So for me, the pain the pain of constantly living in a home that's being remodeled. There's a pain there for me. I'm like, you mean to tell me I can get out from underneath this house now? Just let it go find something else that
Keep
might,
talking, I'm gonna try to sell you.
that might be move-in ready.
I think.
I
this
know,
is,
you might do an MLS search today, be careful.
So, if you can overcome the money in the home, that's the easy part. But a move-up buyer is, the move-up buyer is 90% why.
Not
Yeah.
most people who are selling?
No, it's not. Most people who are selling are first-time buyers. I've saved up, I finally can buy. They don't care so much about their why. Can they financially afford the house? And then the other ones is, can I move into a home that I'm okay with? Did you care, how much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you care about the physical condition of your home?
2,
Okay. How much did you care about the purchase price of your home?
10.
Okay. So no, contrary to popular belief, no.
It's actually.
Most people are like, I finally can buy a home, I'll take anything,
Yeah.
as long as you don't tow it out from underneath me. Most people.
It's livable.
Other people, I need more home,
Or I need less home.
or I need less home.
Or, and I
Downsizing.
know, cause I swear, move a buyer was like my thing, and it's, there's always a problem. And once they have it in their mind, I feel like it grows. So if you can plant that seed or find the seed, you plant
Exactly.
that.
That you are 100%. When you go into this listing appointment, it's almost a problem presentation, almost. You're going in to just discover. Why did you bring me here? Well, we're thinking maybe if we shoulda, coulda, woulda, might, want, I'm telling you guys, you want move-up buyers? Holidays. Holidays. Huge.
Super Bowl.
Why? Why are holidays so awesome to go and find a Y buyer?
From personal experience, when they have family in their home and they realize it's not big enough.
Or it's like travel, yeah, there's
Yeah.
people that come out here, you know, maybe we should move out here to be closer to the kids. Just had that one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, your father and I were, we retired and we were thinking of getting a little closer to the kids. Oh, you need more room. Oh, the Christmas tree is too small. Oh, hey, we're expecting.
Oh, we can't fit.
That's the seed. The why started around the kitchen table. The why started in the holidays are huge for move-up buyers. Huge. Yes.
So, going back to what you were talking about, though, if somebody, isn't somebody that has $250,000 worth of equity, isn't that, that might be somebody's why alone.
I mean, it's part of my why. It's part of my why.
$250,000 in equity, that's,
So then what you
I'd
put a
sell,
gamer on
you
that you
kidding me?
lose, you're probably
there's
lose.
$250,000.
But if you
But you're
always
missing
go
the
for the
mortgage,
money,
though.
like, people are
Is it-
emotional, that's what makes them
Absolutely.
mad. Like.
Granted, if somebody has their home paid off.
But see, here's what I know. Here's what I know, guys. History repeats itself.
Good point.
So it's like if you don't do it now, you just lost the dream of that bigger
Might
home.
have to be here another.
So
eight
what
years,
I,
right?
so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have
Market comes back around.
Just write them a check for 250. Say, well, you can have this now, or I can rip it up.
So
and
my,
give you-
the why for me, the why that connects to the money for me is relatively small. Because I just told you, oh, well, I could always go into a payment plan with the IRS.
And you like money.
He'll get the- he'll
He
get
said,
the-
I like money
He'll
in
be
my
like-
own pocket.
He likes the solution that the money can give him,
Yeah.
like, there's a problem, you're just
Ooh.
fixing the problem.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Once again, once that
Everyone's-
mortgage
But-
payment starts coming in for that larger
But
home,
see,
that's,
that's the
then you're like,
disconnect.
oh, I have all
Yes.
this money. not the money.
1560, 3,000, 3,200.
It makes a
Double
difference.
the.
I might as well just pay the IRS.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, granted, if somebody has their mortgage, because there are people out there that don't have a mortgage.
You're right.
Their home paid off.
You're right.
Several people.
And if they
Well,
sold this home,
Now they will have a mortgage.
But you're at
that's-
3,500.
you
Yeah, I
as an
wouldn't go-
agent, are you truly asking questions to seek to understand?
But knowing from personal experience, I wouldn't wanna go back to a mortgage. That's just not realistic.
Unless you're an
As a
investor.
real estate agent, I like to keep my bills as low
Low as
as possible. Whenever possible.
Right.
And I do like money, and I like to spend money when I choose to spend it.
Right.
I don't necessarily like other people spending my money. So my disconnect is the price of the interest, okay? Because that is going to be higher. There's
Yeah.
nothing anybody can do about it.
And another cycle could be another 8 years.
Yeah.
Sell them on that.
Okay?
You
You're
don't do
right.
it now,
That's a
you
good
may have to
point.
sit here you may have to wait another 8 years for you to get the same equity that you've got now.
Yeah.
So your interest rates went up and,
And your interest rates are going up.
And you're basing
That's
it
for
on
sure.
numbers, facts.
I don't.
and your IRS paid off.
So who in this room, given the information that I've given you, think that it's actually in the best interest for me to sell my home today? Why?
Because you live in a construction area, like, let's make it more comfortable. Yeah, you're gonna pay the IRS, or you can get a more comfortable home and not have to deal with the construction.
Okay?
Yes. He did this on purpose.
He's actually considering.
He keeps trying to get all of them, he's just trying to.
Yes.
get all of them.
What happened?
Go ahead.
Because interest rates are going up, 2, because you pay off the IRS, 3, because you have a buttload of, equity.
And 4,
And you can move into a turnkey property that you're not living in right now.
and 5,
With less
with the
upgrades.
$2,000 a month, you're over what you would pay in mortgage.
Okay, and how many think that the right answer would be to advise me to stay in my home?
Well,
And why?
no agents.
And why? Go ahead.
Well, one, because, I mean, it depends on your relationship with that buyer.
Uh-huh.
Right? Let's say it's your cousin or your brother or something, and you know that his situation would only be exacerbated. You have a client.
Yeah.
This is somebody that will buy from you because we're already at this stage.
Okay.
Now, if I tell you to do something unwise, now I've lost this
But-
cash cow. I can literally sell you on something later when the market actually looks better.
Okay.
But he wouldn't have
Thoughts?
equity.
What do you think?
understand that.
What's your 2 cents? Yeah.
But what
Okay.
about what you learned?
What about with what you learned? What would you tell me to do? Use yourself as the example.
I would tell you to sell your home. I
Okay.
think it'd be more comfortable.
Okay. How about you?
I agree, I think it's a great time to sell, you know, you're maximizing your, you know, the money you have in your house that you can pull out of it.
Okay.
Interest rates are only gonna go up, you're in a better place because the IRS is off your back, you don't have that monkey chasing you around.
For this year.
But, and you can also move into a turnkey place with more family harmony, and knowing, you know, that the shift is probably coming, or at least a correction, then
And to piggyback on that is, we don't have magic 8 balls, so yes, it could go back up, but it may not come back up to the point it's at now.
And you'll have more negotiating power with the seller right now than you would wait.
Yeah, that's true.
How much of a difference would it be to buy down the interest rate?
Depends, it costs, but it's not bad. I think it's about 1%, per point is usually what I advise people. So a $300,000 house, and you wanna buy it down, by whatever it is, it'll probably cost you $3,000 per.
Half a point, right?
Yeah, I don't wanna
But
get
at
into
least
those,
like
cause I
the
don't
mortgage will be
have.
lower,
I've
right?
heard lenders tell you flat fee this, we'll buy it down to this, and I've
Oh,
had them
okay.
say, for every 1/16 of a point, we charge this.
But a conversation is too, is like, how long do you plan on staying in the home?
So I,
Yeah,
that's
right
also a
now,
good
I
point.
plan on staying in the home forever.
Till I die, they're gonna have to.
And
Well,
the
on
reason.
average, people sell every 7 years.
I know, and I bought the home with an investment hat on, not as an owner occupant. My goal is to rent it out, which I didn't tell you guys this because nobody asked, rent it out as a corporate rental like my other house.
You're in right now?
Smart. No, the house on Harville and Sahara.
Can you sell it and go live in your other house for now and then buy low later?
Damn it, Joseph.
That would be this question. So Connor had a client where I sat at the table with Connor and his client, where she had objections about move up.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, the market's shifting down, let's just put you in a rental for 6 months.
That's what I told one of my clients.
She's on that, she's in the hat that I wanna buy. I
Of
don't
course she is.
I don't wanna pay it.
But we overcame the objection by saying,
Yeah.
yeah, of course the market's shifting. What problem would it be if we sell your home, put you in a rental? And then when
Nothing.
you think that the market has tanked, we'll go and look for a home to buy.
By the way, you'll already, when you think the market's tanked, you've already missed the.
You've already missed the
Yeah,
opportunity.
You've already missed the.
And what type of buyer is she? Is she a renter or is she a buyer?
Now she's a buyer.
Of course.
She was a renter for the last month, and now she's a buyer.
So, to answer your question, I think about that. Like, shit, I could just go find a place, you know, maybe like get real small for a while and just kind of have a little fun. And if the market completely goes down by 10, 12%, I'll go find something. Yeah, so I'm not beyond that. Something you have to consider is what are the credit scores of those people? What was their credit score when they bought? What was their credit score when they sell? My credit score is better now than it was when I bought the home in 2015, just so you know.
So,
You can get a better.
yeah.
I can get a better loan, better interest rate. I'm gonna put more money down. Everything's looking to be in my favor. My biggest objection is a larger mortgage.
My question is, why move up so much? Why not make a lateral move to a turnkey property?
I am. Here's the problem. My home, 2,500 square foot, half acre pool spa, open concept, what I want and what I live in, no HOA, that's a deal breaker for me, is now $450,000 and $500,000.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not that I'm not actually,
You go the same thing.
I'm not buying $1 million home for
Making a
$500,000.
lateral move.
I'm buying a $300,000 house for $500,000.
Right, yeah, let's.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
No, sell it, live in one of your other houses and then go buy another.
Rent for
Yeah.
now.
Rent, and
So-
then you can get a newer home.
So thank you all for your input. Actually, the best decision for me right now is to stay in my home.
Why?
Because
Why
I
do you feel
could
that
take
way?
out a HELOC. If I needed to pay off the IRS,
Right.
I could take out a home equity line of credit
Yeah.
against my house and pay them off. And my rates would still be better than they are if I went and bought a new home.
Beautiful.
So you were the correct answer.
Thank you.
And it was a little bit of I wanted to see where the room was because I'm still one of those guys that's like, well, if I found the perfect home and it warranted the extra money, I would still consider it.
You got a room full of salespeople.
But I think,
Who would've
well,
thought?
if it was like a woman, I think you could play on an emotional day, cause I've moved up like 3 times.
So I am more emotional than Beto is.
Well, no, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm just saying, like, I feel like
Beto will say
with
no
the
all
wives,
day
there's
long on a
always
new
like an
house.
emotional thing,
Yeah.
like, there's always an emotion aspect.
Yeah.
Like, we don't think about money, we think
Correct.
about, I had a 2-story house and it was a big, beautiful 2-story house, but I really wanted a 1-story.
Yeah.
Then I started hating going upstairs, and then like, and then I was gonna pay $1,500 more for a 1-story because
Yeah.
the pain of the stairs got to my head.
You're right.
You know,
So
and that's how I felt though, is I appeal to the emotion, and I feel like
2 stories not an option. HOA is not an option. Must be half acre. Good luck. When you are talking to a move up seller, make sure that this is in your pre-qualification. If you did sell it today and you got the most amount of money, is a short-term rental an option for you? Are you financially better today? And you don't necessarily ask them the question, but you can paraphrase and get a financial thermostat. Are you financially better off today in your credit and your income and your cash in bank and your liquidity than you were when you bought your home? Are you intending to put more money down than when you bought your home, or are you intending to put less money down? Interest rates, okay, you can buy down interest rates.
Yeah.
You
And
can
so
find
your
the right
mortgage
home.
is lower when you buy the interest rate,
Have the
right?
seller buy down the interest rates.
You can do that.
And, yes, you can. And, type of loan.
Interesting.
Are you going from one painful loan to another? Are you open to going from one painful loan to another if you found the right home? And the loan, the type of loan, is what got you that lower mortgage payment. So as long as you have these in your arsenal, you'll have a really good conversation. Okay? So let's just keep that in mind. All right, so we talked a little bit about pressure. So no pressure, no. And we talked a little bit about when we're in the height of a market or when we're at the bottom of a market, there's this undue pressure. And so we're gonna see a lot of real estate agents get out of real estate. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing.
Good thing.
Why is it a good thing?
So now everyone has a cousin.
Yeah.
More business.
I think it goes more business for me.
Double-edged sword.
Less competition.
Okay? And the people that are getting into real estate, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing for them.
Why?
You learn
They'll learn.
what the market.
They don't know any different, right?
Yeah.
They don't know any different, so
Well,
like,
bad
this is what it
habits.
is.
Right.
I don't know what it's like to be like this in a negotiating, tactic, where you got the buyer here and the seller here, and all I gotta do is breathe on one of them and push them into each other. Now, the market's like this, and we gotta volley them together. We gotta make a counter offer. We might have to reject a deal. I mean, I rejected a deal a couple of days ago. The seller came back and said, hey, honestly, Craig, it's not about price. He said, the issue here is that your buyers have not even put their home on the market yet. And like, I just reduced $5,000. I've only been on the market 24 days, and I believe I'm gonna get some great attention this weekend. Don't know. He's still on the market this morning. So I went back to my buyers and I said, hey, do you wanna maybe rewrite the offer, because they're listing today, they'll be live on the market today. And I said, do you want to maybe rewrite the offer and resubmit it? And he says, no. He says, let him sit there and stew over this for a while. By the way, here's 2 more homes that I want you to show us.
I'd like to have a conversation with you about that, offering with a home on the market after this.
Okay. So there's pressure, and the buyer knows a little bit more about the market than the seller does on average. And it's our job to constantly check people's temperature. It's my job to check your temperature, however I do it. Hey, I got this home, I'm thinking about putting it on the market. Some of you checked my temperature. Some of you heard the right information. And we have fiduciary duties above all else. We actually have to do the right thing first. The right thing, based on all of the information I gave all of you, is to advise me to consider staying in the home right now and getting a home equity line of credit if I needed it. That was the right thing. Now, I'm a salesperson like the best of you. And if I see an opportunity, okay, well, that's the right thing. So if we put it on the market and you don't like the offer, you can always keep it and get a HELOC. But if you did sell it and you got more than you thought you were gonna do, and we found the other home, can we close? And I would still try to get them to list it, because listing a home and selling a home in my world are 2 different things. But I'm checking their temperature, especially as we're getting into the holidays. So is the holidays a good time to list?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's a broker's market.
Wow, you put your phone down and you get money in it. No, that's not the correct answer.
Out of town visitors coming into town looking around.
Not
No?
the answer I'm looking for.
Because the buyers that are looking are serious.
Okay, you said it, but you go first.
The buyers that are looking are serious.
More serious.
Okay, so let's write that.
More serious.
Seriouser.
Serious.
More seriouser.
So the buyers that are looking are serious.
Missing an A in there.
Okay, fine.
It's all right.
Now there's,
Oh, it's in there?
it's in there, yes.
Okay.
Buyers are serious.
Houses look better all decorated.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, just because you know the answers doesn't mean you can learn it. Okay, so,
It's more like
Less competition.
more important than, mindset. Yes, so less competition. And homes, in general, look better.
Is that an emotional response?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you say that there's, what do you mean, like, as far as less competition as in buyers or less houses on the market? Because
Less
there's a
houses.
lot of houses on the market right
So
now.
we have seasonality though.
Right?
So even though we have homes hitting the market, there's a reason why we have homes hitting the market.
Right.
Okay, there's a reason. Sellers saw the market shifting down.
Yeah.
Homes were not worth as much as they are. So now sellers are like, well, let's get it on the market now. Since we didn't do it then, let's get it on the market now. So they're increasing their inventory. Demand is, for the last couple months, was down. Okay, it has now apparently slightly gone up. Now, we don't know if demand has gone up or if people have just been taking a little longer to close deals. We don't know.
Which
Because
300
we-
deals could very well be that.
Well, but guys, remember, we had a little anomaly happen in our market that we've never seen in history. We had money that everybody thought was available to them in the form of $20,000 should they chose to use it and qualified to buy a home. And then all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, it dried up. And so you had people who were on the market mentally, they were in a deal physically, and then their lender came back and said, huh, oops, sorry, you're not getting this money. Hope brings you home. And so then they're like, well, we're gonna wait because we know the government's gonna release more money because that's what they're gonna do. And they waited, and they waited, and they waited. And everybody who's in real estate said, nope, there is no more money. That was a unique situation, it's gone. And now, all of a sudden, they're getting off the fence. Why?
Because they realize it's now or never.
And the interest rates went up. So the buyer kind of hit this in 30 days, got back on the, off the fence and got back on the buying wagon. And so that might be why you're seeing a slight increase of closings. But that is a bubble. We started shifting end of September, and we will stay shifting just through seasonality. Shifting market aside, we as a Las Vegas market go down 10 to 12% in the winter. And we pick back up on average in April. Now last year we picked up when? In February, because interest rates went up then. So we saw the buyers of April starting to buy in February. But typically, we do 50% of all of our transactions, according to the GLBAR, between
April and August?
April and September. Yeah. So you need to understand, are we in a shifting market? Are we in a seasonality market? What do we know and what can we do so that we have the highest opportunity to take listings during the holidays? And these are the correct answers. There is less competition in general because it's an inconvenience for the seller. They're getting ready for the holidays. They have family coming into town. Work for most people does get slower. It does. Now you have, people will argue, well, yeah, but there's all this seasonal work. Yeah, for most people, work slows down in the wintertime in Las Vegas. Okay? We have less tourism, all that happens. Now we have this retail spur, but that's not necessarily, $20, $25, $30 an hour income. That's $10 an hour income. So even though that will help our economy, it doesn't necessarily do much for buying and selling homes. It's not enough income for somebody who wants to buy a home, and the seller is probably not seeing so much. Maybe a family member lives in the house. So sellers have more objections. You really have to drive them home. The buyers that are gonna come into your home, they are really serious. They're pre-approved, they're pre-qualified, and as much as this is you going out of your way to let them into your home, they're going out of their way to see your home. They need something now. Can't even read my own writing. So the home in general, they look better. Yeah, the holidays, they're cleaned up. Lights, and we've got a little foliage going on before the grass dies in January. So in general, the homes look better this time of year. Okay, so that is absolutely reasons to take listings in the winter. Okay, any questions on that? So we talked a little bit about a move up. Huge opportunity for you guys to take business. Huge opportunity. We talked about listing a home during the holidays. When somebody says, yeah, we're just gonna wait, you know those objections. And then what is another opportunity for us to take a listing during the holiday, or this time of year, now?
Downsizing,
And why?
elderly, they
Okay.
tend to,
So you're correct, but the reasons why. Last thing.
Investors.
Who can tell me what that means?
That mom and dad gave their millennial son or daughter money.
Yep. How many in this room feel comfortable, I'm just gonna use this as a tool. How many in this room live with a family member? For whatever reason, okay?
I mean, not my family.
Doesn't matter, no judgment and no explanation needed.
But anymore, not mine.
It is increasing tenfold. I am lucky right now my parents are not living with me. And it will happen sooner rather than later. Gift letters. Millennials are smart. Make no mistake. They are brilliant. They are the only demographic that has capitalized on cash in the bank. They live this life of financial scarcity. They understand, I'm not gonna buy this because it costs this and I can go and buy that. Like, they get it. And they are going to live with mom and dad, sister, brother, family member, as long as they are allowed to. They also would love to never meet a salesperson in person. And they would love to do everything via text, email, not even email, but text or non-visual means. Here's the best thing. They want what they want when they want it. And they want everything now. They want everything now. So what would happen if you walked into a house? Or what happens if you went to your friend? Or what happens if Craig and Brian got really smart and said, we're gonna teach a gift letter class, and we're gonna invite everybody who has kids that want them out of their house. And we're gonna say, do you realize for the low cost of between $5,000 and $10,000, you can move them out forever? And they can make a huge return on your $10,000 investment to the point where that is their inheritance? Can I show you how?
that's huge.
How many would move out of your current living situation with your family member if you could? Yeah. New Jersey, yes. So, I'm telling you guys, most of you in this room know somebody who, if mom and dad just dropped $5,000 and paid for their down payment and closing costs, and that $5,000 would turn in, even in this market at low interest, would turn into $100,000 to $200,000 inheritance, that mom and dad wouldn't come and have that conversation. Yeah, that is the market for them. Because mom and dad, grandmother, grandfather, sister, brother, first line of genealogy, realtors, lenders can all get. We can all get. So your third highest opportunity to convert people right now into buy and sell is through letting them understand how to gift. Okay? So 3 things you all learned today. Give me some ahas. Aha. Give me some ahas. Some of you who haven't spoken before.
Craig made one sales house.
Give me an aha. All the way in the back. Yes.
That holiday seasonal purchasing, I always thought was just something you get through.
Yeah.
But there is a way that you can capitalize that on and still, make a good return if you diligently put your time and efforts towards that buyer's frame of mind or seller's frame of mind.
Absolutely.
Whereas I would have bypassed it, but not would have spent so much time on it.
Yep.
But
No, that's good. Yes.
That there is a shift in the market. I'm surprised by that. I'm from Las Vegas, and so to see that a lot of people are moving here and buying homes, didn't really expect for it to soon after the a drop in the buying and selling.
So somebody had talked about, their market being more neutral. And when you move from other markets, most of the nation has a neutral-esque market. If nothing else, they have a slower market than we do. Southern Florida, Phoenix, LA, Las Vegas, Portland, and Seattle. Write those down. South Florida, which is including Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Phoenix, Las Vegas, LA, Portland, and Seattle. All have very similar markets.
Could you,
Why?
could you
Why?
chunk Los Angeles into SoCal?
Retirement communities? No.
The market in San Diego is completely different from the market in LA. LA would include your Malibu, it would include your Huntington Beaches, all that. LA County proper.
The weather.
What? Say it one more time. Okay?
Oh.
Number one, weather. Now, number two,
Snowbirds, retired.
what's a different way of saying it?
What do you mean?
Vacation. Secondary homes.
No, starts with an E, starts with a T, ends with ism.
Tourism.
Tourism.
Okay, tourism.
Low taxes.
They come to
Tourism.
visit from the East Coast for the holidays, and they decide they wanna live
Okay,
there.
so broad picture weather. Do we as tourists wanna go where there's normal weather? No, we just go to San Diego for that. Tourism. We have something that the rest of the country probably doesn't have at the time that we wanna visit.
120-degree weather.
Yeah, and that is the height of our tourism. Go figure. People come here, we have our highest tourism market in Las Vegas is during the summer.
Kids are out of school.
I don't think that happens.
Why, that's why people stay inside casinos, that's why they're so big, in my opinion. But that isn't the truth. Back when I was in show business, we shut down the shows in the middle of December, and that's when the cast would go on break, and that's when we would do repairs on the stage and all that stuff. Sir, we shut down every single show on the strip, all 5 shows, in the month of December.
Holidays.
Because there's nobody's buying tickets anyways. It's crazy, but that's part of the reason why. So yes, what's another reason? One more reason. Nope. What do we not have a whole lot of here? No, although I think it's on the list. What do we no longer have a whole lot of here unless you go north of the 215?
Land?
Traffic.
Land.
Yeah.
Land. Projection of building. Yep. That's the reason why. So when you are looking at the shifts and you're looking at what the markets are gonna do, Vegas, I watch Phoenix like a hawk. I watch Phoenix. I watch Seattle for the climatary changes. They're always rainy up there, but I do look. So Seattle gets a relative large amount of tourism, and you can see our market shifting with the climatary changes. Okay? South Florida, retirees, secondary homes.
Portland's an anomaly.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same.
Because
It's the universities and colleges there.
Okay.
They have a huge amount of land. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think that it is kind of a central location. So even though it's not tourism specifically, a lot of people move there transient wise.
That's true.
They don't stay there.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk to people. Where'd you come from?
Yeah.
Oregon. Whereabouts? Portland. How long you were there? 2 years. I think a lot of it has to do with the school, the education that they have up there. They have a lot of land. Yeah. Okay, so we are done with our meeting. Expectation setting is probably the only thing I didn't point on, but I think everybody understands. We talked about the buyers and sellers being a little moody right now. What's the one thing you tell your children when they, when they talk back to you and they don't tell you the way what to do the way you want them to tell you.
Time out.
I want you in timeout for 30 minutes, don't turn around until you're
30
done.
minutes.
Yeah, and balance these books. I don't have kids. I thought that was a good round.
That was a good time. I guess not.
For a lot of time.
These moms are like, what? Good luck with that.
5 jobs.
So, expectation setting, guys. Are you setting expectations? Here's what is happening now, here's what's gonna happen next. Am I setting expectations with you? We understand what we have to do. How many contracts do we have to do this month? 30. How many do we have? I can drop a
Know at the
pin
meeting.
in the room.
1.
Okay? So expectation setting. What are we doing? Or let me back it up. What should we be doing that we're not doing, such that by doing that, everything else would be easier or unnecessary?
Selling homes. Lead generating.
Well, it's gonna be lead genning, and then it's gonna be getting really articulate with who we're lead genning to.
And following up.
Okay? So our FSBOs, who wants to tell me, like FSBOs right now in this market, are they the hot to trot?
I think so.
Okay? Who thinks that FSBOs right now are the money maker?
I think they could be easily.
Okay,
Shouldn't they always be?
so you three, in my opinion, are sellers. You're 3 months behind. Go and tell me how many for sale by owners are on the market today versus last month and the month before.
Well, maybe
It's a lot
not,
less.
so maybe not in this moment,
Yeah, you're right.
but I do think in a couple of weeks, I do think for sale by owners would be a gold mine.
When I got into real estate, there was no for sale by owners. In comparison, there was no for sale by owners.
So,
Oh, I thought you just
They
meant,
didn't
I thought you
exist.
just meant about like getting them to jump off the fence of selling with an agent. That's what I.
well, I'm saying right now,
They are.
because our
That's
market is
right.
shifting down, I
Yeah.
don't think they felt the pain of it yet. I think they're still going a little bit off of the hype that they felt they've heard about over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
It's harder to sell a home on the MLS right now. It's gonna be.
Well, and
a
so
lot
you're
harder
onto
to sell
something.
on
You're
Zillow.
on, this is a really good point. Hey, go get a room. Yeah, you,
Who is that?
Patty. So you're onto something, and it's I think it's valuable to talk about it. A for sale by owner is a seller.
Mhm.
And how much influence do they have by real estate agents, real estate professionals, buyers,
All of it.
the market? No.
No, they're selling.
They
homes
sit on an
now.
island all by
I thought
themselves.
you meant by the amount of people who call them.
So we think that a seller is about 90 days behind. Imagine what a FSBO is. They probably think the market's still going up. They really do, because they don't know, they're not talking to people.
Access
Saying
to
I don't wanna
information.
talk to people.
The pain of the market will eventually, I don't know
Just
how
think
it is
about
right
like
now,
for
because
sale
I'm
by
not selling
owner
FSBOs
all
actively,
day.
Yeah.
but in a couple of weeks, when they're starting to sell the market for a month, 2 months, 3 months.
What do you
Yeah.
mean
5
buyer?
months,
She's already.
Well, it's a
asking,
FSBO.
are you-
Yeah.
they're gonna be a little bit more open to having.
So listen, so set expectations, be very clear. Okay, clarity is power in a shifting market. With so much talk and drama and pressure from the government and what's happening, there's just a lot of negativity out there. Be that breath of fresh air, be that light, be that person that says, you know what? If I can get you what you want, are you still interested in listing your home? Yes, let me help you down that path. It's not gonna be easy, we're gonna have some road bumps, but I'm gonna be by your side that whole time. Okay, can we agree that I'm gonna look out for your best interest, and I'm gonna get your home sold for the,
Most amount of money.
in the least,
Amount of time.
with the,
Least amount of time.
yeah, can we agree to that? You make the decision if you wanna sell it. I'm just gonna list it, and I'm gonna get a lot of attraction to it, and I'm gonna get you the most amount of money I can. Can we agree to that? Great. Okay? Alright, so take 5 minutes, use the restroom, get some coffee, whatever, we're gonna go right into sales, and we will get out of here by 12:15 at the absolute latest. Hold me accountable to that.